Hey, it's Pastor Aaron here from Altar Church, and I'm outside freezing my booty off because we can't be inside today for church, but we still wanted to give you a virtual church experience. So thank you so much for tuning in to our live broadcast with worship music and our announcements and our baptism video. We wanted to make sure we gave you a great experience, and I hope so far you felt that you've learned something. Now, it's important that we also dive into the Word of God and convey a message for you to keep into your hearts and use as you go out into the world and love Jesus and be the church. Now, I don't know about you, but I love a good story. I know my wife, Andrea, she has a story she tells about this job she used to have, and there was this man who came into this facility and he was picking up something heavy, and as he picked this thing up, his pants fell down. His pants fell down, and so she had to go and pick his pants up for him and cinch him up. And when she got home, she told me that story, and she couldn't stop laughing. And every time I hear it, I laugh too, because it's funny, it's hilarious. But then when I laugh at that story, my wife reminds me of the time that I used to be a nurse and I was giving CPR to chest compressions to a patient at the hospital, and the same thing happened to me. The drawstring on my scrubs came loose and my pants started coming down, and the nurse had to get behind me and hold my pants up. And so I'm giving CPR and I'm going down, and then she's going up and I'm going down and she's going up. It's a true story. It's hilarious. It actually happened to me, and it's unforgettable. And sometimes you hear stories in the scriptures that are unforgettable, and they make a change in your life, make a change in your mind, and convict you and compel you to do something different. When I was about 22 years old, I was at a church service in Chicago, and I heard this pastor give a message on the early church. He gave a message on Acts chapter 2, 42 through 47, and he talked about how he first heard that story in college, in Bible college. And when his professor told that story, it changed the trajectory of his life. Now, ironically, when he told that story, it changed the trajectory of my life. Today, I want to read that story with you, because I believe if you read it and understand it, it can change everything about you. And I'm excited to read this story with you right now, because I believe that the story has the power and potential to change everything, and I mean everything, about who we are and how we do church. Let's take a look. It says, they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. All the believers were together and had everything in common. They sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need. Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread together in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. Now, when you read this, what it's describing is the perfect community. This is the church very early on, when the people were just getting together and excited about what was happening, when they saw the power of the resurrected Christ and they saw what they could do together. This is what that looked like. This is the church that changed the world. This group of people changed the moral ethic of an entire society and the entire world, because poor people, they took on value. People who didn't have any money, they took on value. People who were diseased and infirmed, they took on value. And this group of people gave their lives to ensuring that they were cared for and loved. Why? Because that's what Jesus did. That was the heart of Christ. And if you look for it, you can still see it in the church today in glimpses. Because most of the time, it's my contention that you don't see it, because we're so used to the four-wall mentality of church. We show up, we sign up, we sing, we listen, we take notes, we post memes on Facebook, we post quotes on Instagram. That's how we do church. That's what we're used to. But this, what we're reading now in Acts 2, that's not what that was. That is totally foreign from our experience of the church. But it's my belief. It's in moments like we're experiencing today when the true church can come alive. Let's read that again and let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's focus on verse 42. They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. What are some key words that we find there? Well, we see words like teach. Can we still teach today? Yes, of course, it's a perfect time. We can definitely do Bible teaching. We can have video blogs. We can talk about the scriptures with our friends. We can do anything we want to, because we're so connected virtually. So of course we can still teach, even though we're not connected and we can't necessarily meet together as a group. Can we still do fellowship? Of course we can. Again, fellowship is about being together and sharing a common value. You don't have to be together in the same room. So right now, maybe you're thinking about someone else. You're thinking about someone that you can't see. You can simply pick up your phone, even in this moment, like Rachel said in her announcements, and give a person a text message. Tell someone you're thinking about them. Do it to 2 or 3 people. Get on a Zoom. Post a message on Facebook and say, hey, who wants to pray with me? Let's set up a Zoom call. You can do all of these things and create fellowship just like they did in the early church, even though we can't be meeting together in person. And I believe that as you do this, you're actually creating better fellowship because it takes more work, it takes more investment, it takes more time, but the reward is greater. Now this one's tricky. How about breaking of bread? Can we still break bread? Well, we can't break bread in a group of people, a large group of people, but we can still pay for meals to be delivered. We can still send someone a lunch. There's lots of kids in our cities and our towns that aren't going to be able to have a lunch because it was provided for them by the school. You can send a meal to someone. There's many, many ways that you can participate in the breaking of bread, even though we can't do it as a community. And how about prayer? Of course we can pray. Pray, 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 pray. In fact, I feel like you should be sending a message to the people that you care about. You should be putting a message on social media. You should be sending a text message saying, hey, how can I pray for you? What can I do to make sure that you're okay spiritually? What can I do to support you? So of course we can pray for one another. How about verse 43? It says, everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. What are the key words there? How about filled with awe? Filled with awe. People were seeing what this early Christian community were doing, and they wanted to know where it came from and how it happened. If you read the miracles of Jesus, that uses that same word. People were filled with awe about what Jesus was doing. And now people are filled with awe again about Jesus was doing, even though Jesus wasn't physically in their midst. They were filled with awe at what the church was doing in his name. We can still do that today. We can still create the sense of awe in the people around us by what the church is doing. How about verse 44? All the believers were together and had everything in common. Now, when we read this, sometimes we think that it means they didn't have disagreements or they didn't have differences of opinion, but that's not true at all. What it meant is they were united and unified in the same principle and mission, which was helping and loving and serving other people and bringing them to Jesus. As we say all the time, the gospel is about advancing God's space into our space, and that's what they had in common. Everyone understood their mission, bring other people to Jesus, because when they do, when they get to know who Jesus is, it'll change everything about them. How about verse 45? They sold possessions and gave to anyone who had need. The key words there are sold and gave. What these people were doing was taking what they had and selling it so they could get means so they could give it away to other people. They didn't see their own possessions as all that important. They saw the joy, they saw the safety, they saw the contentment, they saw the gratitude of other people being more important than their own stuff. So they said, man, I've got this jacket. I like this jacket, but that man over there, he doesn't have a jacket. So I'm going to give him this jacket that I like because I'd really like if he were to have a jacket. In fact, I'd like that so much, I'm willing to lose what I have for him so that he can be warm and comfortable and okay. That was the mentality of this early church. They were generous. Can we do that today? Of course we can do that today. That's the most important thing we can do today because no one is generous anymore. You see how people are with toilet paper? They want to get every single roll because they feel like they're going to run out. Who knows why? I don't know why, but they're buying every single roll of toilet paper and every single can of Pringles and every single can of hand sanitizer. I don't know why they're buying these things, but it's because they're not generous. There's a fear, and fear causes us to take all that we can for us. This was the opposite mentality of the early church, where they wanted to give to other people for their joy, their safety, their contentment. That is an attitude that we must have today if we're going to make a difference in the world, if we're going to bring awe into the world through the work of the church. How about verse 46? Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts. What are the key words here? Together, with glad and sincere hearts. They were all together in joy. Why joy? Joy because all of the things they were doing for each other and for the outside world, they saw it. They were living it. They knew it made a difference, and it made them feel this sense of joy and peace and love, and they wanted more of it. and they were together in that belief. Can we do that today? Of course we can. We can do that through our generosity, through our love, through our commitment to other people. Of course we can do those things. How about verse 47? This is my favorite one. It says they were praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. Understand what this is talking about. It says the early church had the favor of all the people. All the people were the people on the outside world. The people who weren't Christ followers, the people who wanted nothing to do with the church, but they saw what this early church was doing. They saw the joy, they saw the generosity, they saw the commitment to other people, they saw the love, they saw the desire to learn, the desire to be together, the desire to pray for one another, and they wanted to be a part of that. And so the movement grew and grew and grew exponentially. And it says in verse 47, the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. The Lord added to their number daily. Why? Because people wanted to be a part of it. Can we do that today? Of course we can. It is my belief that the church is the hope of the world. And when we do church right, it is irresistible and everyone will want to be a part of it. When we do church right, it is irresistible. It is captivating. It's motivating. It's inspirational. It's one of those things that can change a heart so completely that people are willing to lay down everything they did before and become something totally new. We can do that. We have the power to do that through the power of the Holy Spirit. Now, if you're wondering how we can do that, how you can do that, Altar Church has set up an action force, a task force to help with people who are hurt by the coronavirus. And we're talking about healthcare workers and parents and kids and people who need medicine and people who don't have the right kind of supplies, all those different sorts of things. We want to be able to help those people make sure that they're doing okay, just like the early church did. We want to be generous to them, just like the early church was to those people in their community. And so we want you to help. And so what we're going to ask you to do is text the word COVID, COVID, to the number below. And when you do that, what you're going to do is you're going to let us know that you want to be a part of this task force, part of a group of people who are going to make a difference in the world around them, just like they did in that early church, just like those people did who were committed to others. And I'm telling you from my heart of hearts that if we do that, if we commit to loving other people, we can be the church and we can grow. And I'm not talking about the booties in the seats. I'm talking about our hearts. We can grow in love of Christ as we grow in the love of other people. And so by the time we get back to church, by the time we get back together, we'll think like, man, this getting together thing, it's great, but that's not what the church is. The church is what I was doing before when we couldn't meet together. So that's what we want to do at Altar Church. We want to give you an opportunity to help us be the church, to be a group of generous people, a people of love, a people with the heart of Christ, as we help people impacted by this virus. So once again, text the word COVID, COVID, to the number right here below, and we'll get you signed up to help us out. If you're not part of Altar Church and you're doing your own thing, that's wonderful. Pray for your pastors, pray for the people at your church who are going out of their way to help other people, pray for first responders, pray for healthcare workers, pray for nurses, and do the best you can to help them in this difficult time. Church, don't give up. Don't lose hope. Don't lose sight. We're in this together, and we're going to do the work of Jesus as we go every day, every breath. Once again, I want to thank you for tuning in to this virtual version of Altar Church. We hope you've been blessed. Before we go, we want to remind you that if you have anything that you want to bring before the Lord, if you have any prayer requests, if you have any burdens on your heart you want to share with others, please text the word prayer to this number right here. Prayer, P-R-A-Y, right? That's how you spell it? P-R-A-Y. My spelling's not so great, but I'm pretty sure I got this one. P-R-A-Y. Text that word prayer to the number below. You can put your prayer request in and we'll follow up with you in prayer. We'll make sure that your prayer request goes to our prayer team and we'll check back up on you in a couple days. So thanks again for tuning in. We love you. Be blessed. Take care. God be with you.